I'm going to call the meeting to order, and the first order of business, I'll read the accessibility statement and the Title VI non-discrimination statement. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon advance request. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. The notice of non-discrimination rights and protections to beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI/non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is posted in this meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833, and thank you. And I'd like to go around for the introductions. Bill, do you want to call the
Roll call.
yeah, the roll
Yep.
call?
Yes, ma'am. Abington.
Alternate.
I guess that's John on this. A1. Bridgewater.
Shane O'Brien, Town Planner, Town of Bridgewater.
Shane. Brockton.
Rob May, Director of Planning and Economic Development, and oh, she didn't chime in. I thought she was gonna, we have somebody from the mayor's office joining us, but that's all right.
Alicia Montron, Constituent
Thank
Liaison, Mayor's Office.
Thank you. Duxbury. East Bridgewater. Easton.
Greg Swan, Easton DPW.
Is Greg. Halifax. Hanover. Hanson. Kingston. Pembroke. Plymouth. Plimpton. Stoughton. West Bridgewater. Whitman.
Dan Sabucci, alternate.
Mary Knoxville, delegate.
Thank you. Brockton Area Transit.
Michael Lambert.
Gatra. And MassDOT District 5.
Hi, Barbara LaChancia. I think Rich Bilsey is also going to be joining.
Very great, thank you. And MassDOT Office of Transportation Planning.
Hi everyone, Raisa Kwame, Master OTP.
Thank you, Raisa.
Thank you, Bill. I'm going to move on to item number 2, which is public comments. Do I hear any public comments? Hearing none, I'm going to move forward to item 3, which is the minutes of February 1st, 2024 meeting. Do I have any motions on the floor for acceptance of the meetings or revisions?
I'll make that motion, Dan Sabucci, Whitman.
Do I have a second to that motion?
Rob May, second.
Roll call, all in favor? Bill?
Aye.
Abington.
Aye.
Avon. Bridgewater.
Abstain.
Brockton.
Aye.
Duxbury. East Bridgewater. Easton. Halifax.
Aye.
Hanover. Hanson. Kingston. Pembroke. Plymouth. Clinton. Stoughton. West Bridgewater. Whitman.
Accept.
Accept.
MassDOT District 5.
Yes, sorry.
MassDOT OTP.
Yes.
Matt. Yes. And Gatra.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 4, which is communications, that would be Sean.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First item for communications is Culvert Replacement Municipal Assistance Grant Program, Division of Ecological Restoration, Massachusetts Department of Fish and Game. This funding is to encourage applicants to replace aging culverts with better designed crossings that meet improved structural and environmental design standards and flood resiliency criteria. For more information, please visit the hyperlink in the staff report. Next item is the Route 24 over Canton Street Bridge Replacement Virtual Public Information Meeting. It'll be held Monday, March 11th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. The purpose of this meeting is to reintroduce this project in Randolph to the public before major construction begins this upcoming spring. If you would like more information on this project or to register for the meeting, please click on the hyperlink in your staff report. Next item is Massachusetts Project's Intake Tool, MapHit 5.0 Virtual Classroom. There will be 3 sessions available from the UMass Transportation Center, March 21st, 27th, and 28th, all at 10 a.m. For more information on these meetings, please visit the hyperlink in the staff report. The next item is Federal Funds and Infrastructure Office, which is the lead agency with the Healy Driscoll administration, tasked with implementing a whole of government approach to ensuring Commonwealth of Massachusetts can leverage historic opportunities available for federal funding. For more information, please visit the hyperlinks in the staff report. Next, we invite everyone for Ray Garino's retirement party. It'll be held today at 1 p.m. after this JTC meeting held here at the Old Colony Planning Council. And that is communications.
Thank you, Sean. Anyone have questions for Sean? Hearing none, I'm going to move forward to item 5, which is reports. And first item A, which is the Brockton Area Transit Transit Authority. Mike?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nothing too major to report today. Ridership continues to increase. We actually had a day last week that exceeded our pre-COVID average numbers. We've been, as the group knows, we expanded weekend service, as well as some frequencies based on increased state funding. We continue to look for avenues to increase service with a focus now on late and overnight service for second and third shift workers. We had our annual legislative luncheon up on Beacon Hill on Tuesday as we begin our work to ensure increased funding for next year as well.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions for Mike Lambert?
Mike, just want to curious, how's the electric bus program coming along?
It's a good question. I'll now take over the next 2 hours of this agenda. We have 5 buses to be delivered at the end, basically at the end of this fiscal year. Throughout June, we are working closely with National Grid and with our engineers to situate our charging infrastructure. We want to have both our main charging system set up at the maintenance facility, but then also backups for both for maintenance and for operations at the BAT Center. So we're making progress along that front, and hopefully everything will come together over the summer to bring the electric buses into service. We'll have an event to mark that.
Are they going to be capable of running all day, or will they have to be charged up, or
It's a good question. It depends obviously on the piece of work they're doing. It just happens that BAT's routes and schedule works very well with electric buses because we have a very tight area. So our plan is to phase them in slowly and sort of cover half days at a time and bring them back to the maintenance facility to be charged. But sort of rotate them so that there's always a couple out on the street to help boost awareness, and then try out the buses in all different situations: hot, cold, night, day, hills, no hills, and get some real world experiences to their effectiveness and how long they can run for.
Yes, one more, I promise. What will become of the diesel bus?
Well, so we have our bus replacement schedule laid out for the next 20 years, where we sort of have a regularly scheduled investment in our fleet. So we'll continue to run diesels even if we don't procure another diesel bus ever, we'll continue to run them for the foreseeable future as we phase in the electric buses. But again, we're considering these first 5 buses to be a pilot program, to be a test. case scenario, there's certainly a hybrid option that is out there. And we expect to see future technological improvements to the battery electric versions as well. So we'll make decisions on our investments as we go forward.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you. Any other questions from the people online? All right. Hearing none, I'm gonna move forward to item 5B, which is Greater Attleboro Taunton Regional Transit Authority, GATRA. Is there a representative from GATRA here today?
Is Mary?
She's talking, but I can't hear. She muted? She's not muted.
Now, hearing none, if someone goes online, we'll go back to that
Well,
item.
Mary,
Is she here?
Bryce is trying to talk, but she's.
Oh, she is,
Just
okay.
can't hear her.
Okay,
Make sure you're, yep, oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay,
you have the floor, Mary Ellen.
all right. So thank you, Madam Chair. We, GATRA has rolled out full Sunday service across all of our routes now, so we are operating 7 days a week. We have seen a very healthy increase. We started this as a pilot back in October. We went on full service schedules starting the beginning of February, and we are very encouraged by the numbers that we're seeing. We'll continue to monitor that, and then once we get a handle on the Sunday service, we're going to be looking at our service hours as a whole across the system and where it makes sense to increase service. We have picked up the community of Halifax as a GATRA community, so we will be working with them on service in their area. And our transit app is live, so if anybody wants to watch where the GATRA buses are, they can look on GATRA app and track their buses. And that's our report.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. That's great about Halifax being added to your system. Any comments or questions from the committee?
Halifax here, just excited to have GATRA on board. Looking forward to it.
Great. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'm gonna move forward and congratulations. Great job. The South Coast Rail Project, and that would be Sean.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. As everybody been well aware for some time now, South Coast Rail will be restoring commuter rail service down to the cities of Taunton, Fall River, and New Bedford, which are the only major cities within 50 miles of Boston without commuter rail service. Currently in the process of phase 1, which is expected to be shovel ready by spring or summer of this year. In the last month, some of the work that was conducted involved fencing installations, signal system installation and testing, brush cutting and tree trimming along the railroad right of way, continued construction of the pedestrian bridge over Route 18 in the city of New Bedford, including 7 nights where they had overnight lane closures, as well as return of both daytime and nighttime freight operations on the New Bedford main and secondary lines. For anybody who wishes to sign up for the automatic email alerts, which come out weekly on Tuesdays, you can click on the hyperlink in the staff report and enter in your email address to receive them. And that is my report for South Coast Rail.
Still no hard date for opening here.
Not that we've been told.
Okay.
I have seen on social media that some of this final stations, the construction is looking to be done, I think this month or next month. But once all the stations are complete, obviously they'll be running, simulations of the service along the lines. But the last we heard was late spring or early summer for when the service is expected to be up and running.
I can't seem to get away from the Stoughton line because even though I'm not there anymore, I still get calls about Stoughton. So I got a call about the rail. When would that construction be for to increase the tracks to 2?
That is part of phase 2, which I haven't seen much about phase 2
Okay.
online. I've only seen information about phase 1. Once phase 1 is completed, I imagine, the planning or, some more informational packets or about phase 2.
So that's in the future.
That's in the future, yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'll get back to them. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Thank you, Sean, very much.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna move on to item 6, which is old business, which is FFY 2024 to 2028. The Transportation Improvement Program implementation, and that would be Bill.
Yep, thank you, Madam Chair. So just gonna talk about a couple of project updates here, and mainly affecting this current fiscal year. So you can see on this page, yeah, if you've been coming to these meetings long enough and if you're familiar with my work enough, you know that anytime I use the color red, that's a scary color. And so you can see there, we have a project in Brockton that had been programmed for this year. Reconstruction and intersection improvements at Center Street at Plymouth Street. Right over here, just on the other side of the viaduct here, by the Bat Center. That is not expected to advertise this year. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next agenda item when I talk about tip readiness days, where we talked about this extensively, but that is, at this point, we don't see a path to that advertising this year. Unfortunately, that does leave us with a pretty large surplus of funds, unprogrammed funds at this point in this, given at this current fiscal year. And we're working with MassDOT and Brockton Area Transit to see how we can use those funds. So that will bump that project to 2025 at least. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit more on the next agenda item. And the other better news project update there, the bridge in Plimpton, Winnetoxet Road Bridge over the Winnetoxet River, that is 100% design. So, and that's very likely to this year. So that's my that's my update for this current 2024 to 2028 tip. I don't know if anyone had any questions or anything.
Any questions on that? Are you finished with old business?
I'm not, yeah, I'm
Okay.
thank you.
Item number 7, which is new business, which is the FFY 2025 to 2029 Transportation Improvement Program Development, and the results of the tip readiness days, and that would be Bill again?
Yep, yes, ma'am. So the last agenda item was talking about the current tip, and this is the new one that we're developing, the 2025 to 2029. A big part of the development of this is tip readiness days, a day in February where the MPOs and different groups at MassDOT get together and we talk about project readiness. We look at the current federal fiscal year, the 2024 projects, and then we look at we look at those years in the current tip, and then we look at potential new projects that could be brought into the to the new tip. So this is a major development milestone in the tip. And I'll just talk about the results of tip readiness days on the next page. Okay, so this one's looking at this current federal fiscal year, 2024. You can see shaded in pink there, the intersection I just spoke of in the last agenda item, Center Street at Plymouth Street. Due to right-of-way issues and as well as environmental issues, that does not appear to be able to advertise this year. So that will have to be moved to 2025. And recommending that's going to leave a gap of unprogrammed funds in this year, but we're working with different parties to figure out how we can use those funds. So stand by on that. And if you want to go to the next one. And this is looking at the outer years, so 2025 to 2028. We see it shaded in that yellow color. That's just an item where we discussed it a little bit. There were some questions, and ultimately those were determined to be good where they are. So, and the only one you see in red here, pink, is the Hanson Route 14 project. This is a project, obviously, we've talked extensively about at this committee in the past months, and due to design issues, meaning, mainly that this project still needs to have a, subsurface utility engineering assessment to be completed before carrying this forward. It seems highly unlikely that this project would be ready for 2027. All parties were pretty much agreed to that. So the recommendation was to move this to 2028 or 2029. And I can say that in the funding scenarios that we're developing right now, we're looking at 2029, mainly because we had a slew of projects already programmed in 2028. Design had been moving ahead on those. And so rather than pushing those out another year, we're looking at putting Hanson out to 2029 at least, so. Oops. Yeah, expert. Okay, so yeah, that was the only project in the that we discussed that didn't appear to be anywhere is currently programmed. The rest of the projects in the tip were, and what we're doing now is we're evaluating additional projects that were in the universe of projects. If you recall, a few months ago, we updated our transportation evaluation criteria scoring system. That's a system that we score to projects in the universe of projects to determine how they rank against each other, and that helps us in determining which projects to program. And since that was a brand new scoring system, we had to go back and rescore all the projects. So we've been in that process as well. And so we're rescoring the existing projects and then these potentially new projects, and that's helping us develop a set of potential scenarios. And then the next week or so, we're finalizing those scenarios, and we'll go to the MPO meeting with a set of scenarios in 2 weeks. And at that point, the MPO will determine a preferred set of projects to develop the 2025 to 29 tip with. And so that's my update. I don't know if anyone had any questions or comments on any of this.
First,
Yeah, Bill, being chair of the Abington Planning Board and also being on this committee, I always get questions about the progress of the Abington stuff. So it's good to come here and see where they are along. Realistically, when will we see construction in Abington?
I think that, so the first one you guys have up is Hancock and Chestnut. That's in 2026, and every time I check in with that project, design seems to be moving right along. So it's programmed for 2026 element of the tip. Usually, not always, but usually, a project will advertise somewhere towards the backside of the federal fiscal year, which would mean construction would be, the construction season ends pretty soon after that. So probably 2027, you might see construction, but it could be 2026. Depends on exactly when in that fiscal year that project advertises, but somewhere 2026, 2027.
People are really interested in that Hancock and Chestnut Street deal. Because it's got the hill going down into the intersection, and people saying, "Oh, Jesus, how the hell is that gonna work?" But I guess the engineers will make it work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my understanding is so part of the design, they're gonna flatten out that hill. They've done it in other places. And if you remember, probably 20 years ago now, but in Pembroke, there was an intersection, Route 27, Route 36. They had to take out a big hill for that. So it's been done before, and certainly doable with this project. And then you have a couple other projects in Abington, state job, Route 18 and Route 18 at Route 123, and then you also have Route 139 at Chestnut Street, and those would be, I'd expect those as long as they stay on the design track where they are right now. I'd expect those sometime like 2028, 2029 for construction.
Well, Kathy and I are gonna go over to England again this fall to celebrate our 30th wedding anniversary, and we love roundabouts. Because those really work great over there, and they work great here too.
Yeah, I mean, they're, you know, the safest form of traffic control, and they use a lot less energy, obviously, than traffic signals, so I think the standard right now is to prove, you know, prove otherwise, and roundabouts won't work before you know, determine another solution, so
Thank you, Bill.
you're welcome.
Take my candy.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Moving forward to item B, which is Route 3A/53 corridor study in Kingston. And a project update, Bill?
Yep, so I'll just quickly give you an update on the project. So this is the corridor study that we're doing in Kingston on the Route 3A corridor, and also a short section of Route 53. So right here, you can see where that study area is. So that study area is that corridor, but also does extend into the northern portion of Plymouth there, and the southern portion of southern portion of Duxbury. So we're looking at basically a quarter-mile buffer beyond the corridors into those towns. You can see here locations that had a higher than average crash rate. 3 locations popping up: Route 3A, Route 63, Route 3A at 106, and Route 3A at Holland's Lane. So these are biggest safety areas that have popped up so far. That, you know, I can say that none of them are glaring. That none of these are, you know, what we consider crash clusters, but they are above the regional average for intersections. So that's something that's being flagged. Similarly, we've also done a risk analysis, screening for the corridor and areas with elevated risk in those emphasis areas that are in the highway safety improvement program. And so you can see for lane departure, we have a section of roadway that's considered at risk. For older drivers, we have a section of roadway that's at risk, and similarly for younger drivers, a section of roadway that's at risk. So that those are being identified in this plan as well. This is just kind of gives you an idea of what we've done for the data collection. This shows data that's been collected along the corridor. These says traffic counts. These are actually turning movement counts. And it's broken into AM peak hour and PM peak hour. With that, we've been able to do a level service. And these are areas that have been identified as congested along this corridor. So that'd be Route 3A at Route 53, Route 3A at Route 106, and Route 3A at Landing Road. And these are, when I say congested, that means that these are locations where the level service grade is F. If we include intersections with a level service of T, then there's a few more. But these are just those that have an F. And so that's kind of an overview of what we've done so far. So far, it's been a lot of data collection and analysis. We've met with the town, talked about the land use surveys, and we brought in our comprehensive planning team. So we're looking at comprehensive planning along this corridor as well. How that area can grow and develop in the future. So that's a factor in this study. And it's on it. So right now, the biggest things have been done so far is the traffic analysis, and now we're looking at improvements, potential improvements, and then working with the town on looking at areas, priority areas where they want to see potential guide how that corridor develops, and potential growth areas. So that's what we're doing, and it's on track for completion this year. So later this summer, we would have a completed report for this.
Any comments or questions? Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
It looks great.
Thank you.
Route 139 corridor study in Stoughton, and that is a project update.
It will be me,
Oh.
next Noreen.
Welcome.
Just double check if folks can hear.
Can you hear me well? Can you hear me?
Maybe just go up to the rear buildings.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm here to give a very quick update on the Route 139 corridor study and for the presentation, please. Next. So team of transportation in OCPC, we're working on Route 139 corridor study with the town. I'm just going to give a very quick overview for what we are looking to and what's our next step. So this is a very long list of the things that we do, including the public outreach, community outreach. The core part of the study is the analysis, including the existing condition analysis and future analysis. So we are working with the community to gather additional data for the future developments. So all the data that we collected will be processed in the computer programs such as Transcat, Synchro, and simulation. So the core value for the study is to leverage any information assistance and resource for the town to move forward with the project. The town has been working really hard with a couple locations that I'm going to outline the next couple slides. We also have identified the preliminary issues along the corridor in terms of the congestion and safeties. So the project will be completed by the end of September this year. So we are reaching the midterm at this point. So the overview for the corridor, essentially it's about over 3 miles, center line mile for the complete corridor north of Route 28 in Stoughton. Most of the corridor is under Stoughton local owned jurisdiction, except the area, I believe it's north of Horseway to the town border with Randolph, owned by Massachusetts. The road classification is principal arterial road, both under federal classification and state classification. The study was funded and enabled by UPWP number 3400. Next, please. This study has been built upon from previous efforts, including the early years of 2010, the Route 139 corridor study, including 3 towns. And the OCPC also conducted a couple road safety audit, including Central Street Corridor ISA in 2018. And particularly for this project, corridor study was assessed in 2022 in a regional effort from a high priority corridor study screening. So we basically rank all the major corridors in OCPC region. So we found out this is at one of the highest priority corridor. That's the reason why we have this here. We also had a 2022, there's a pedestrian safety and mobility audit at Low Avenue with the town. So this is where we are. We launched the study in October of last year. Next, please. There's a mixed land use along Route 139. Majorly is residential and commercial and industrial. So there's some sensitive area, for example, the forest, wetland, and agriculture. This is not our main focus, but we will include it in the corridor study. Just until any transportation improvement, we will be mindful with some sensitivity of the environmental issues. Next, please. This is just a long list of the traffic data OCPC collected. Basically, they are the ATR, meaning it's not only the volume data, but also the speed data and heavy vehicle percentage, like classification informations. Next, please. So this 10 location are those major intersections that we collected the turning movement count that will include the multimodal data, including the volume, bicyclists, and pedestrians. Next, please. Ray prepared this slides, the sum of data analysis he get from the replica, excuse me. So we can see most of the trips, take 20 to 40 minutes. So this is pretty high percentage. So that's the general average travel time. As we can see, the trip purpose along Route 139, mostly it's home-based. And secondly is the work, and third is shopping, like shopping season. Majority of the passenger or the drivers, they're using the private automobile, like passenger vehicles. Approximately 5% it's commercial freight vehicle. And we can see the biking, walking, and other transit use is very low along Route 139. It's not very surprising. Most of the trip origin from the Norfolk County. So the data only provided census block level data. Ray was able to combine them into the county. So it's very helpful to guide our study. Where are those trips from and what's the characteristic of those trips? Next, please. From the ATR and turning movement count data, Kyle prepared this slides and summarized, hey, what's the operation there? What's the demand out there? So we have over 5,000 to 19,000 vehicle per day along Route 139. So it's very diversified along the corridor. So you can see the land use kind of change along the corridor. Sean, could you move that window? So averagely about 1 to 8 bicyclists using the intersection at the peak hour. That's a 2 hour in average. As you know, if there's more accommodation for biker pad, you can kind of project the number will go up. The most heavily used by pedestrian intersection is at Washington Street, which is in the central square area of Stoughton. Another location is, I think, very close to the Central Square, but to the north of Central Square, which is Lincoln Street. About 10 pedestrian was reported at the 2 hour period. The next one is the 85 percentile speed range from 35 to 45 mile. So this is kind of high in some of the area. And in the report, we will actually develop some crash diagram, and we'll look into the crash, the occurrence, and the reason, anything behind that, maybe speeding issues will cause the crashes. Again, we are not surprised to see the heavy vehicles, ranging from almost 5% to 25%. So there's some industrial land use there, some of the industrial warehouse. Next, please. We also use the Synchro software to conduct a level service analysis. This is basically like Bill just mentioned, the level service, if it's E or F, that means the intersection it's operating under the capacity. So the average traveler may experience more than a minute a delay. So that's significant. But in some of the urban area, 1 minute seem to be acceptable. We were also looking into the detailed the turning movement, which it's the turning movement is harder for turn, causing any delay. So we will work on some of the recommendation based on the analysis. Some of the stop control intersection, they might look bad in terms of the level service, E and F. It's kind of acceptable because it's a side street, experience more delays. As I pointed out, one of the reasons why this project was selected because it's about of the high crash location. And in fact, Lincoln Street, it's among the state top 200 list and the 5% intersection crash clusters. Next. We have preliminary crash analysis done at this point. As you can see at the Lincoln Street intersection, which has high crash occurrence. Secondly, is the Route 139 at the Technology Center Drive. So this is a detailed table. I don't want to go through all of them, but just give you an impression that this corridor has some safety concern, and those are the numbers that we're looking into to provide, the documentation on what happened and what can we improve, how we can process. Next, this is very similar. I just want to point out the crash rate on the very right-hand side. As you can see, the number. So 0.75 is the District 5 average. It's around 0.7 is the state average. So any number that over 0.78 is considered, to be high crash locations. So you can see Lincoln Street, as well as the Washington Street, among the highest. Next. So we have a meeting with the town, and we all went out to do a safety audit. For the next couple of slides are the preliminary findings that we have. Or for example, this is Central Square at Route 27 and Pleasant Street intersections. You can see some of the signal display was blocked by the utility pole. And just right below it, it's the sidewalk, which has been a problem. It was too narrow. But overall, this intersection has been operating well in terms of capacity, except some of the times in the PM or AM peak hour, the left turn from that side, it's right here. It's becoming a problem. The storage is a little bit limited, so the vehicle trying to make a left turn is blocking the through movement as well. Next, please. So this is a couple of hundred feet north to the Central Square. This location has always been a high crash location. The town is working on, has been made a multiple improvement to the intersection, but also it's working with the consultant to help redesign the intersection. Next. So this is at Central Street. The speeding, I should have also mentioned all the location have somewhat speeding issues along Route 139. There's a slope issue there, no bike lane. The crosswalk, as you can see on the screen, is way too long for pedestrian to cross safely. Very similar to Lincoln Street, the town is working on it and have a consultant to redesign, to upgrade the signal system and relocating the loop detector. Next, please. This is at the Pine Street intersection. As you can see, this is a poor designed intersection. The side distance and the wide radius and the lack of curb are noted at the intersection. The town also working with the consultant on the redesign of the intersection. Next. The Turnpike Street at Pleasant Street, this is a messed up project. It's under 75% design. And as you can see, the main issue is the settlement. There's some decomposing heat material. So you can see on the photo, there are about two or three of the utility pole was leaning to one side. It's because the subsurface settlement was not stable. We That's a ray on the photo. The intersection also requires some geometric improvement. We will include all those in the draft report, but this is the outline of it, including the turning radius, the Q lane southbound left turn, the signal display, and there's no safe crossing at the location. At that time, when we were doing the audit, a pedestrian actually walk across the street. The light, the pedestrian light, it's activated, it's working. It's just the condition for crossing was not ideal at all. Next, please. Okay, so this is just a little bit more detail on the state project, number 607214. And some of the description here, it will be including the package in the meeting. Next. So this is to the north, this intersection, signalized intersection, I believe it's owned and maintained by the state. And this is obvious that the speeding is an issue along Route 139. You know, there's a lot of regional shopping here, a lot of, out of town travel or just, some purpose trips. It's a high volume and the turning movement during the peak season or the shopping season could be very high. There's really no safe bicycle pedestrian accommodation here. It's just basically a highway going through. The crosswalk is way too long. There's no refugee island to say if you could get really scary, trying to cross the street with the traffic and the speed situation there. The declining slope, like going to that way, northbound, and also there's a kind of challenging tight horizontal curve. So it doesn't really help the traffic safety. Yeah. Next, please. So this is the last major intersection for our study to the north. It's the technology center driveway entrance. Again, the speeding along 139, and this location has been more obvious that lack of bicycle and pedestrian accommodation. There's no pavement marking. The surface condition is poor, and there's as the town pointed out, there's an inadequate road width for the K-way going into the section. So we also noted the signal system was kind of older, and the signal display kind of small for the corridor, for the location. Okay. So this is just a timeline that where we are right now. We're happy for the progress. Heading to March, we're going to have a public survey. Next, please. So our staff created a survey monkey that kind of take into the public opinion of the people who drive in the area, use the corridor. There's a total 13 of general question and some of the sub questions. It's gonna take like 5 to 10 minutes to complete, but it's gonna be very helpful. Our question not only just general, like what's their opinion to vision the future Route 139, but also the particular question like the mode, transportation mode. Would they be happy to ride a bike or walk along the corridor? I think that would be really helpful to guide our study. This survey also translated to 4 other language, including Spanish, Portuguese, Haitian Creole, and Chinese. And Ray spent a lot of time helping the survey as well. The survey will be posted very shortly after the meeting on the website, so feel free to go on in and help us to fill out the survey. Hope you can find it helpful. Thanks. I hope I don't miss anything important, but this is conclude my presentation of the project update. This is all my information, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any further questions.
Thank you, Joe John. Any questions or comments?
Yes.
When are they ever gonna get that things? Jeez.
Yeah.
I've been on this committee forever, and they've been talking about that peak thing forever.
Yeah, I do not have a very good answer. I've been working with the project manager from Mass and we kind of have a conversation like how our corridor study will be a good addition to the design, or at the same time, they also provide us with some feedback for the study as well. So I do not have the answer, Bruce. Sorry.
It's doable because the entrance off of Route 18 in the Southfield or whatever they're calling it these days, they had a wicked peak issue there. And they managed to resolve that. And look at, that's a major development. But I mean, as far as I know, I suppose they'd have to dig it all out and stuff like that, but yeah, well, I hope they get that solved someday.
Yeah, me too.
While I'm
Thanks for
still
the
alive.
It's been going on for years and years.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank you again.
Happy to-
Any
Thank you.
comments or questions? Great job, a lot of information.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing all
No
that.
problem.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm going to move on to item 8, which is other business and community local technical assistance studies. And that would be Bill again?
Yep, thank you, Madam Chair. So I just have a couple updates with this LTA report. So the well, first one there, we recently completed a study for the town of Plymouth. That was looking at about 3.5 mile section of Route 3A corridor from the Kingston Town Line down to the intersection of Warren Avenue and Sandwich Street. So this is the section of Route 3A in Plymouth that's under town jurisdiction. And their town was curious what the appropriate speed limit would be for that roadway, were they to pursue that. So we did the analysis for that and gave them the results, and so that's completed. So that turned out to be a nice project. And hot off the presses, we had a request from the town of Plimpton this morning to look at the intersection of Holland Road, Route 58 and Center Street. I did a preliminary look at the crash history for that intersection, and it looked fairly high for a rural area. So I was talking with the town, and we're more than happy to do a road safety audit and traffic study for that intersection. So that'll the data collection for that will take place sometime later this spring. And we'll go to the next page. Then you can see the other projects that we have in the queue here. So the next few weeks or so, the data collection team they're gonna be going out to the town of Bridgewater, just on traffic counts in that town. And then in Plimpton, do some counts, that town, as well as a follow-up to a truck exclusion feasibility study that we did last year. And then, in Kingston and Duxbury, we'll be doing a corridor study of Landing Road and Loring Street. And that'll be a little later this spring, or probably May. There are recreational uses along that corridor, and namely a boat launch. So we'd like to capture that traffic. So we'll be doing that data collection when schools are still in session, but people are starting to use some of those recreational facilities. So that would be that'd be May before Memorial Day. And that concludes my my LTA report.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Thanks so much, Bill. Good job. I'm gonna move on to item 8B, which are the staff reviews and ENFs, EIRs, and MPCs. That will be Kyle.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mhm.
So just a few updates, no new projects this month, one certificate for towns of Abington, Rockland, and Weymouth. It's for the South Weymouth Naval Air Station redevelopment project. And this certificate states this project will require an environmental impact report. And then we have a couple of public notices. First, for the town of Duxbury, notice of application for a 401 water quality certificate. This is in regards to the replacement of 2 existing bridges carrying Route 3 northbound and southbound over Franklin Street in Duxbury. Next slide. And then town of Pembroke, notice of application for a 401 water quality certificate. This is in regards to the Center Street Route 36 reconstruction project. And then finally, a notice of submission of a yearly operational plan for Eversource. This is for Abington, Kingston, Avon, Plymouth, Whitman, Duxbury, Brockton, and Stoughton. And this is in regards to them spraying herbicides along the right of way for Eversource.
Thank you, Kyle. Any
welcome.
questions? Comments? I'm gonna move on to item 8C, which is the regional concerns and local community transportation issues, and I'll open that up to the committee. Bruce?
I will keep this brief because we're gonna keep keeping us from the party. But two things. Abington planning board had our public hearing last night on the housing plan, the MBTA housing. And that's going to town meeting on April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. And hopefully that's not a bad omen. The second thing is my friend Sean must have known that I was going to be here, but he made no mention that Citizens Planner Training Collaborative was having our annual conference a week from Saturday. Registration closes on March 12th. It's $95. If you're an AICP planner, you can get tons of credits because there's going to be several courses. They're going to have AICP courses. We have 170 people registered right as of yesterday. I'm sure we'll have double that amount. It's always a fun day at Holy Cross. And I know that Noreen and several people in this room have attended it in the past. And I hope you register for it. If you're on a planning board like I am in Abington, planning board will pay for you to go to it. So please come.
Yeah, just to add to that, it's a great conference for training, especially for members that are just coming onto planning boards or zoning boards of appeal. I mean, they have workshops just dedicated to that.
Yeah.
And because there's just so much information there and issues that you deal with and current things going on, like what Abington's doing, the MBTA, the Section 3 stuff on multifamily housing. So I think there's something there for everyone.
Yeah, Judy Barrett, actually, who's been a consultant in Abington and Whitman and Rockland, I guess, she's actually going to do 3 courses, but none of them is going to be the MBTA one.
Right.
But it's going to be really great.
Yeah.
Going to be great.
So if you can make it,
I'm taking the day off from work, so I'm going to go all day.
there you go.
Route 14, it looks not very
There's a
close.
lot of it. Yeah, there really is.
That was the only question somebody asked me from my town.
Yeah. And we'll be able to get an answer on that.
Yeah.
I know we're having technical difficulty here.
Oh, battery ran low.
I can see you now, guys.
Okay, we're back.
Back.
All right, want to reopen that if anyone has any regional concerns? Well, I don't hear any. Just to let people know, when we sign off after the adjournment, we're going to have a presentation, a virtual, the virtual people can participate. And if you would stay on after the meeting is over, after we adjourn. Yep, so I'm gonna put a motion on the floor to adjourn, and you can just wave. You know, all in favor? Opposed?
Second.
Thank you all very much. See you next month. Stay on. We have a presentation coming up.